And I'm like, okay, well, it's crazy. It's my birthday. So it's not an accident. Maybe it was someone close to me who was doing this, someone who knew something about me. I didn't really go out that much. You know, I was a working mom. My son was my priority. There weren't that many options of who it could be.
This has to be so psychologically terrorizing for Karen. She must be constantly looking at everybody. Is it you? Is it you? It could be anybody. It has to be a game that she's playing in her head all day long. Who's my stalker?
Once back in New Jersey, out of the blue, the stalking suddenly stops. He doesn't call.
Things were quiet. Things were very quiet. It was a breath of fresh air. I couldn't believe it, that it was finally over. I thought that I was going to be okay.
It took a really big weight off her shoulders. She's been able to get on with other things in her life, and she's a lot happier.
An astonishing 4 years go by without any further harassment. But just when Karen has completely let her guard down, her stalker plays his deadliest card yet.
I was shocked. I thought, oh my God, it's happening again. And how many times do I have to go through this?
It's been 4 years since Karen Welch, a divorced mother from New Jersey, has heard from her anonymous stalker.
It was like a miracle. I felt that my prayers were going to be answered.
But then, one day, Karen comes home to a shocking discovery.
All of a sudden, my screen door is slashed and the nail is left hanging in the screen door. It was stabbed into the front door. Then there were footprints around the windows. There were definite signs that someone was out there, and I had no idea who. I thought, oh my God, it's happening again. Obviously, it's not over.
That's probably when I was the most scared for her.
How many times do I have to go through this?
To me, the fact that he went away for such a long period of time means that he probably recognized that his behavior was a lot less than sane. However, he's an addict. He's addicted to the stalking of Karen. This is his drug, and he wants that rush again. And so he's back. The stalker knows where you live, and he's not afraid to go there. That can't be anything other than terrifying.
Karen no longer feels safe in her own home. Her stalker's out there, somewhere, and there's no telling what he'll do next. Panicked, Karen turns to the police once again. This time, she's directed to Detective Ross Yenesey.
Hi, I'm Karen.
I can see how it could be extremely nerve-wracking if you are being stalked, especially if you don't know who's stalking you.
Detective Yenesey sends an officer to inspect the damage to her property.
I could use it.
It feels like someone's breathing.
But he's unable to help her hunt down her stalker.
He prefaced it by saying, you are not going to be happy and you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you.
There really wasn't much we could do at all. It's just harassment right now, and I really can't go any further with this. I'm really sorry. I wish there was more.
Investigators' hands are tied. There's not enough evidence to tie anyone to the crime.
I was appalled.
I need you to get me
To
some
basically find out that no one's going to help me, it was shocking. I guess they were waiting for something to happen to me. It was insane. It was absolute insanity. And then, just like clockwork, just like before, I start getting phone calls. I was getting probably like 18 to 20 calls a day.
Days turn into months, and the calls just keep on coming. It's been 12 years since Karen got that first call. And now, there's no end in sight.
In my experience, stalking rarely goes on beyond a couple of years. And that's what's extraordinary about this case. 12 years of this harassment. This must have been so life-changing for Karen and her family.
I never knew who to look out for. It's not like you can be aware, well, the person driving this car or this person has blue eyes or brown eyes or is 5'2" or 6'3".
This has to take an enormous toll on Karen. Everyone Karen meets, everyone she knows, everybody she sees on the street could be the stalker.
I pretty much just stopped going out. I became a social recluse, so to speak. I didn't want to take any chances. I had a son, and I didn't want to put myself at risk. You know, it's crippling. It cripples your ability to lead your life.
I equate it to post-traumatic stress syndrome coming back from a war. I think it's horrible that you would have to live your life wondering what's going to happen next.
I remember kind of saying, like, maybe I should just pack it in and move now.
But it seems to me that in this type of case, there's nothing the victim could do. She could move houses, but she can't keep that a secret from everybody. She could change jobs, but who knows where this person is in her life. There's nothing she can do, not until she knows who it is.
And what Karen Stalker has in store for her next is sheer terror.
Call me back, baby. You're real hot. Stalk your ass. Yeah, I got your number. And that's not all. You're gonna get yours.
Karen Welch has just received an alarming phone call that has her in fear for her life.
Call me back, baby. You're real hot. Stalk your ass. Yeah, I got your number. And that's not all. You're gonna get yours. You're gonna get yours.
She is terrified that her stalker will appear at any moment to carry out his threat to kill her.
That was a nightmare. I think that was probably the worst day of my life.
Yeah, I got the tea.
But in a surprising twist, the horrific phone call turns out to be a blessing in disguise. This 20-second message is a credible death threat against Karen. Now, the investigation kicks into high gear.
Came to us advising that she'd received a phone call and it was of a threatening nature. Of course, we were concerned. This person is saying that they're going to actually go after her, so you need to try and stop that.
This was going to save my life. This was going to finally put an end to this.
Detective Yenisey works quickly to trace the threatening call. Over the years, the caller has used a variety of prepaid phones. But luckily for the investigation, this time he slipped up. They're able to link him to one of the phone numbers. And on January 15th, 2010, investigators finally reveal the identity of Karen Stalker.
They told me that they got the man who admitted to stalking and threatening me, and that his name was Joe Pate.
It's a total shock. 55-year-old Joe Pate is a well-respected member of the community. He is married with a 24-year-old son and has no criminal record.
I was stunned, absolutely stunned. I didn't know this man. I would never, ever have figured out that it was him. You don't tie any of these things together until, you get a little bit more of the information. I would never, ever have figured out that it was him who was responsible for this. Never. And so, of course, I had a lot of questions.
When Karen finally learned who her stalker was, I'm sure the first feeling she experienced was relief. A, it's over. B, I know who it was. But then the second overwhelming feeling must be, why? Why was this man tormenting her? What is it about her that made him do this?
This person doesn't know her. I mean, he had no motive to do any of this. There was no rhyme or reason why.
Authorities suspect that Joe must have caught sight of Karen around town and developed his obsession from afar.
I really can't speculate as to what was going through his head. But why do people stalk movie stars? Why do people stalk anyone, for that matter? I can't answer that.
I personally have never seen a case like this. A completely anonymous stalker who is so dedicated and focused on his victim. This guy doesn't want anything from her. He doesn't want to date her. He doesn't think she loves him, and he doesn't think he loves her. For this stalker, it was not about getting anything from his victim. It was all about the thrill of the hunt.
But the surprises in this case are far from over.
Well, we pretty much had the case wrapped up, and he was supposed to come in and give us a statement. Unfortunately, he never did come in.
On January 4th, 2010, Joe Pate commits suicide before he is arrested.
What he did is he duct taped himself into the shed behind his home and he lit a fire. So he tortured me and he tortured himself. In retrospect, I think if he was crazy enough to kill himself, he could have easily killed me.
Karen may never know the full story behind her stalker, but today, she is slowly rebuilding her life.
Karen was relentless in trying to get this case resolved. I give her a lot of credit.
I do think that she's moving on. She's at a point where she can turn the page, just get all this behind her once and for all.
I'm lucky. My son is happily tucked away in college. It's time for me to productively move on as well. I think I need a vacation to Hawaii.
Determined to turn her ordeal into something positive, Karen fought successfully to have stronger anti-stalking laws passed in New Jersey. And today, these laws have helped countless stalking victims like her. Karen is lucky because her stalker is gone, but she will never know why he chose her as a target, and that question will haunt her for the rest of her days.